that.
I
Boom.
think got double shield, brawl, and then 6-man brawl, I want to say.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Double shield brawl, 6-man brawl. Sure. Sure.
I want to
Um,
say you have 6-man, but don't quote me on it.
that's totally fine. So before we get going into the review itself, any questions, general things you want to go over?
Um, Yell at me when you see me do my stupid DM stuff.
We'll do that.
I think my bombs have gotten pretty poorly lately, so if you see any that you think are really bad, shout it out.
Okay.
And I do notice that I tend to take a lot of poke damage lately.
Sure. Okay. So bombs have
So,
drifted. Keep an eye on
all
the
the usual
DMs.
stuff.
We're probably taking too much poke. You're almost certainly taking too. Well, yeah. Okay, that's fine. It's easy to fall into that trap as Diva. Okay. Okay. Let's get going with the gameplay then and see what we've got because it can guide us.
All right.
So
No,
you're setting up here, and you guys are
yeah.
setting up with the double shield. And did you just set you up here? Perfect. Perfect. This is
It's
what we
me
like
and
to see.
Basher, and our plan was as soon as we're going to take some poke and a little bit of scout,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as we see them at, well, if they're not coming down main, as soon as we see them at that wooden door
Mm-hmm.
arch, we'll dip. Uh,
Right.
I'll let you know. You'll see how that goes.
Talk to me about why this shield is up.
It's a good question.
Yeah, yeah. Because now we're gonna have to pull down the shield, and then we're gonna have a delay on when we can redeploy it, and we
Yeah.
might want to block something. Now, turns out their team doesn't really have much you need to block, but this isn't really right. We didn't want to pre-deploy this shield like you've done here even before the game started. You literally deploy your shield to actually block things, even if those things are, hey, the enemy Ash looking at me. We deploy it to block things, not just like, oh, I feel like I want my shield. No, that doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. We'll deal. Okay. I probably don't rock there quite yet. Like, I get that, hey, there's a lot of stuff there. You could hit multiple things. It might be nice for AoE damage. But I probably want this more to protect myself or to mess up someone jumping in. You follow what I'm saying? Like, are you going to get an elimination here?
Well, you see, the idea was throw that rock, and then we're gonna leave right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we don't exactly leave correctly,
Okay.
but that's what that rock was meant as. Was okay. We see him now. We
Okay.
got enough poke.
I
Let's
might.
leave. And then
Okay.
we didn't leave.
I might still have had my rock to kite with, because I might
Okay.
have wanted my rock to kite, because what's probably going to happen is they're going to jump on you. Hopefully, as they jump on you, the Winston's immediately going to deploy a shield, and then they're going to feel the need to follow you. And you're just going to be like, nope, as I float backwards, let me rock you in the face, and it sort of messes up their push. It's also before we've got our halt out, which is like, it's not a perfect pressure cycle either, but that's okay. I get it. This is not leaving. Yeah, so you're kind of stuck. Part of this is staying too long, but part of this is just sort of a poor deployment route where we're like this. We go like this. This is supposed to. Sorry. This is supposed to be a bit of a pressure cycle, but you're dancing. You've spent a lot of shield. Okay, maybe you'll be able to retreat with your shift, but at this point you know this is 6-man, and Winston's going to do pretty decent damage to you even when you're shifting. So I'm a little bit worried at this point. Yeah, and you're still here. You're still here. You actually hit that shift earlier where the Reaper hasn't finished his... Like, the Reaper's literally at the beginning, at the middle of his teleport when you're hitting that shift, and the biggest single source of damage is going to be their Reaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many of Reaper's 8 shots have you blocked with this shift so far?
Absolutely zero. But
Right.
the
Go ahead.
Sombra has 7% ult charge. Just saying.
True, true. The Sombra is bad. I will grant you that. I mean, the Sombra has no business being here. The Sombra is a stealth hero. She's the one hero who does not stage with her 6-man. She should have been chilled
This
over
entire
here.
scrim,
She
that
should have been
Sombra
chilled here.
was absolutely farming EFP off of us.
Oh,
The
okay.
entire game. So
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that's something then. But
there's the mental.
okay.
Barrier is about to break.
I'll let you know. These first 2 fights don't go well, and it is on single.
Sure. So you're in the lamp. Right idea. Bounce some shots. It's gonna be very hard to get me not to re-peek left. You can go right now? You don't know what you're doing.
Play back
Oh
left
no.
corner.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
No?
So
Alright. This is my shot caller, so yell it at him.
that's fine. I'll yell at him. I'll yell at him through you. So what we're looking at here is you guys have set yourselves up in this back corner here, and you're thinking to yourselves, we're a bunker, we stack together, that makes us nice and powerful. Yeah, good stuff. This comp wants to not take damage until it's ready to jump on you. It wants to regain its resources with cover between you and it, and then it wants to, at a relatively short distance, just jump on top of you and make you not alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you are doing Sigma dance things where you're like, let me throw some orbs, let me hide, let me throw some orbs, let me hide. Eurissa drops a shield here, goes, I'm going to shoot at you, maybe you'll throw a halt, that sort of thing. Is this team ever going to get stable enough that they have good full resources to dive?
Well, I mean, they're gonna get more ult pretty quickly, which they do in this fight anyways.
Sure,
So,
they are going to get more ult pretty quickly. I don't disagree with that. You're going to get Bob ult pretty quickly, I would counter. But yeah, they'll get Moira ult faster, that's a thing. And you've also got the actual threat of picking them off. Like, the reality is, they'll get Moira ult pretty quickly, but if they have to jump you without Winston Bubble, or they jump you with only half of DM, or they jump you without Wraith, it's not going to be a great dive for them, is it?
no.
So you kind of need to keep pressure on them. Like, you can't just let these guys stage in peace. I get it felt a little awkward, where it's like, hey, we're here. They pushed us. We're scared because we spent our lamp. Our wrist is half health. You aren't in the most amazing shape. Like, I get it. This is scary. But this team actually has greater reliance on their pressure cycle than you guys do. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want this fight to continue, especially when all 6 of them aren't on top of us. I want this fight to continue rather than to let them get out and stabilize. If they're allowed to get out and stabilize, I'm going to need distance and map control between me and them again. And you are going, hey, maybe we'll let them back off. Their Diva's half health. They don't have Wraith form. How's their Winston? Does he have his major cooldown? They don't have Bubble. They can't fight you right now. Like, they legit can't fight you right now. Congrats,
So
you
with
healed
these-
back up and they healed back up. And who's really better off now?
I'd say them.
Right. So you just needed to keep the pressure on them. And you should recognize that individually that you needed to keep the pressure on them. But this is also a team thing. And hey, your shot caller said this. I get it. Not the end of the world. Okay. Also, I look at this comp. This comp is kind of scary in that Winston is going to just cleave 6 people here, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. And then they get ult, and that's it.
Yeah, so I don't really like that. So if you guys were split more 3 and 3, 2 and 4, that sort of thing, it would also make it so that Winston cleaves less. And yes, Winston drops a bubble, and maybe the other group can't immediately shoot at him. But you guys can peel pretty well for here, right? You're a poke comp. You're all ranged. So, like, you guys being split like this doesn't really hurt your ability to peel for each other, does it?
Suppose not.
And it actually makes it harder for them to stage because you put pressure on them, which makes it harder for these guys to go, well, we'll get here, and then we'll dive you from multiple directions. Like, no, you won't let them stage healthily. But that's okay. Let's continue through. Good. Some rock into the halt. We'll take it. You gonna take some high grounds? No. Okay.
Should have. I thought about that.
Unstable
You thought about the high ground?
existence.
Yeah, I thought about it in the fight, but then I just said screw
It was going to be hard to push up there once they got that many
Yeah.
people up there. We could talk about that ship. I don't think it's necessary. And then we go here. Okay. That's fine. They were always going to be pretty successful with this dive. You guys let them get too close to you with too many resources, and then you let them get their, resources back when they were close. So that's okay.
That music. It's playing again.
Objective
Yeah, then they kind of steamroll us onto a second fight.
Okay. Well, now you guys are going to rotate high ground. You go for the conservative route up to high ground. We like long distances. Those are our friend.
Here it comes.
No?
Observe
I don't know about
It's
this
my
one.
shot caller speaking.
Okay, okay. Like,
This
these
phone
guys
sucks.
want short-range engagements to go, hey, we're going to get on top of you, and you're giving them a, oh, well, it's a very short distance travel. Whereas when you guys were back here, it was more like, like, you had to play a bit closer. You were going to play around this pipe because you have range limitations in Sigma, but your team was more going to play back here, this sort of split thing, and you were going to play around this, think about cart, that sort of thing. But, okay, I'll just be upset with your shot caller, but he's not here, so I'll be upset with you.
I'll take it. We'll wait for the diva. It's coming.
Okay.
Let them out.
Yeah, he really wanted to
Okay.
flip this on them.
What's that?
I didn't get it either. He
Sorry.
wanted to flip it on them for some reason.
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't get it, but I went with it.
Yeah, sure. No, it was the call. You lean into the call. Is your Ashe gonna do it? Okay, your Ashe has a different angle, so this can work.
Does not
Please tell me
compute.
your Ashe still has the different angle. What? Where's your Ashe?
On the turret.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. I liked your Ashe then over here, but okay, that's fine. Cool.
Yeah, Brock.
What's that?
Yeah, Brock.
Yeah, you got the rock. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It doesn't know. Temporal doesn't know about the Yep
It's
Rock.
playing again.
Am I missing a piece of popular culture here?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay.
Watch us get rolled here again. And I have a massive flux.
You do. You're also spending rock on a barrier, which I don't love. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
Retrieving the barrier.
Ready for it?
I am.
Presents
Uh-oh. Are you gonna touch? No.
payload has reached.
This is the second time I've fluxed a point that was already
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah. That was not great, but this third fight
Don't
was
worry.
mostly
We're
snowball.
getting out. We're
There
back.
we go. We're on the
We're
diva.
back.
We are on the diva.
Your third NA favorite diva.
There we go. Who's my second? Okay.
Somebody.
Routing towards forward barrier.
We'll go with Blah. I'm sure Blah's got some kind of diva in it.
Okay. Okay. I think I've seen more like Zarya, Winston, or Orisa out of Blah, but
I'm training Blah. He's gonna be a diva.
oh,
right now.
nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Okay, so here we are. We're doing this. Not quite sure what that DM's about, but okay. Not sure what that DM's about either. Sure, but like, you're just continuing to re-scout this third re-peak. Like, you did this. Aha, I'm peeking. Like, I'm sort of okay with it, but like, you're sort of just re-peeking to put pressure on them, to scout who's there. Like, what are you getting out of this third re-peak on this team? You have no meaningful range damage right now, and your micro missiles are on cooldown. So what are we getting? Like, maybe there will be a Rhine shield for you to shoot at, except they don't have Rhine?
I guess scouting wise.
Yeah, but is this valuable scouting? Like, here we are. Let's just go back a little bit.
Stop
We're
saying
here.
That's why I meant from like I'm taking too much poke. I
Yeah.
think I keep doing this.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be true. If we see it once, it's probably a habit. But you do this. This is fine. I'll deal with it. Whatever. The damage isn't really high enough to warrant it, but I get it. We're blocking some damage. We saw what we needed to see. We see that they back off a little bit. We overspent DM a little bit there, but that's fine. And we see her, and there's just no reason to go any further. Just step right. Like, we don't need to reopen. We know what they did. We know where they are. And excuse me, wasn't fast enough on my mute button. My apologies there.
Time to raise my APM.
Yeah, this is Tix's DM, and I'm pretty unconcerned if you spent what's your first quarter of DM on scouting information. I consider your first quarter of DM pretty cheap. DM still regenerates relatively quickly. Yes, you've got a lockout from using it, but when you start spending the second quarter before you've recovered the first, or even more than that, then you start being in a situation like right now you have half DM. Now the fight isn't actually going to start right now with you having half DM, but you didn't get anything. Like, you got scouting information that was updated with like 1 second of relevancy from your previous scouting information. That's not worth spending a quarter of your DM for.
Routing power to forward barrier.
I'm also not totally sure why you're here. Like, I look at this. How do you think this fight is going right now? So this has happened. We've done our stuff. And I don't think we're going to run at or push the other team. Do you?
No.
Yeah. Maybe we're going to go try to, like, ambush the other team in here or something. But I'm pretty comfortable knowing that the enemy team from my scouting information was back here or back here. I'm pretty comfortable just going, hey, I have boosters. It's a very short cooldown. Let me hop up here, cancel them immediately, wait 4 seconds, then I have them back. And now I have a better place to play from. I might just free drop instantly when the fight starts and decide it's a little too far forward. I need to free drop. But being up here is mostly just better. Doesn't really cost you anything except a booster cooldown. And the booster cooldown is free right now, right?
We talked about this before, and I agree with you on high ground.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't understand is in neutral like this,
Mm-hmm.
why be on the high ground? Because I'm doing the same amount of like poke right now.
Oh, sure,
like,
sure.
in
Because
the middle of a fight, take high ground. I get that, and I've been doing that a lot more
Sure.
lately.
Okay.
But I haven't, because you've said this to me before, but I don't think I understand it, so I don't implement
Great.
it.
So let's
What-
work on that.
In neutral to take high ground like this, like what would that do for me?
There, eventually, you're not going to be doing well. Okay, you get a little bit of an advantage in if you're right there and you're on high ground. So let's say Lucio is where you are and you're on high ground. You have a little bit more ability to shoot over Rhine shields and things like that, but that's not really a huge concern. You've also got a little more ability to sort of spray your DM over your team than you do from in the middle of your team because of how your DM is shaped, because of how it works in terms of it's a long shape effectively. It's not that long, but it's a bit of a long shape there. Like, it's if you draw it across your team like this, it does protect more of them than if you send it forward like that. You also get a little bit of shooting over ride shields, but really the real thing that you're going to notice is as this team walks in, your angle just gets more extreme on them, right? Like, as they walk in here, it gets more extreme, except now you still have your boosters, so you're up on high ground and you have your booster cooldown available, as opposed to if after the fight starts, you take high ground, well, just using your boosters to take high ground, that can be okay, but you don't have your boosters to go, oh, let me jump over here to address this off angle, let me jump on their Zen, or let me jump on their Moira who's down Fade and Orb, that sort of thing. So, like, it becomes I know the fight is going to push in, and when the fight pushes in, and the enemies push around this corner, your high ground just gets better and better, right?
I mean, I get that, but as they're pushing up, I mean, I'm gonna get poked out from the high ground, and unless it's some kind of high ground like KR third point, where it has like that kind of hard cover.
Oh yeah, you can't just stand here
You
on the
know,
high ground. That's not going to work. I agree. But this high ground lets you wrap. You can stand back here. You can stand here and shoot at them, and then just back a step and be safe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then I'm far away from the corner. It feels wrong.
Okay, but you're going to walk up as they walk up type thing. Like, I'm trying to have your booster cooldown when the fight starts. Like, yes, you can get a little closer and do a little bit more damage maybe because you can play here instead of playing back here, but your damage is pitiful at this point from either spot. Like, it really is, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
So we're really just investing in the future to make ourselves a little bit stronger for the future is what's going on here. And it's not huge, but it's a little bit of an advantage type thing. That said, this one isn't super bothering me. If you decided, no, it's more important for me to find a different off angle, I could deal with that. If, for example, your Rhine was here and you were like, no, I'm going to play here, I'd live with that. That would be fine with me. I don't think that's what we're going to do, but
No.
yeah.
I gotta rule that.
Ryan, why are we leaving? Is he hiding for... No, he doesn't have a shadow. Is he just playing corner? Okay. Sure. You can't do this. So this happens. I absolutely cannot end my boosters here, and if I am ending my boosters here, I'm hard DMing Reaper. But, like, why are you ending your boosters here?
No answer.
Okay, because, like, this is just a better place strictly to end them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would way rather be up here where I can DM the entire fight, DM over my BAP, DM over their Reaper all at once, than have ended here where it's just like automatic that you're going to lose your mech right here. Yeah, that once you use that melee, you committed yourself to being stuck.
Well, I almost ended on the high ground there.
You did almost, but I just wouldn't even have chanced it with that melee there. Like, it just doesn't add enough. And it wasn't like, this is the finisher on someone.
Do you not know the booster melee combo?
Obviously, I'm familiar with the booster melee
Yeah,
combo.
I mean, that's what that was, though.
But did you make it to high ground?
I mean, I almost did.
Uh,
I
oh.
just fell off instead of committing to the high ground.
Was your booster melee combo going to finish someone?
No.
Right. So, like, if it was like, I'm going to do this because I'm going to finish someone and I'm going to get out, that's potentially worth. Where it's like, hey, I'm taking a chance that I won't make it in exchange for having a good chance of finishing someone off, but you weren't close on finishing anyone off. You were just going for a tech for maximum damage. And the truth is, maximum damage, like, oh, this is max value. Like, okay, it's max value, but how do I want to put this? Like, sometimes it's not that complicated. Like, oh, it's max value to do this. It's max value to... We'll use Winston as an example. It's max value to melee wave. Yep, and you should melee wave. If you're very confident that you're going to hit the hits. If you have 60 ammo left in your clip and Mercy has, 30 HP, yeah, you could finish her with a melee if you're sure you're going to hit it. If you're not sure you're going to hit it, don't melee miss, lock yourself out of zapping, and then give her time to get away. You sort of get what I'm saying? You're in a similar boat here where it's like, do the thing if the thing helps. If the thing is a little uncertain, we can go with the higher probability thing. Because, like, you're getting a tiny bit more value that isn't actually converted into a finish of an elimination, a life saved, anything like that. And in exchange, you're putting your life at a fair amount more risk. I'm just not really a fan, but that's okay. Okay, good. Go right, go right. Why are you going main? Okay. So here you are. I would just like to walk over here and put pressure on them from this direction. The Reaper's still far enough away from your Reinhardt that I don't need to feel the need to protect Reinhardt for this little walk up. I think I can walk up separately, and I'd like to have my angle, but that's okay. I'm also probably not protecting my Reinhardt from generic damage like this. Like, yes, he's swinging, but I'm really, in this matchup, super interested in their Reaper when it comes to my DM. And is their Reaper that dangerous right now?
Not right now, no.
So I probably don't want to spend this. Like, all of my DM is for their Reaper, to be perfectly honest. And, okay. Sure.
Yeah, I get lost in this fight a lot.
You do. It's easier to see fights from the outside. Again, like, over here, easier to see the fight. It's easier to look in and see what's going on, but that's okay. Okay, you're on Winston because you don't have DM left for Reaper. You have DM left, you use it on Reaper. Call that a success. Okay. I'm not really sure I want this booster for no reason thing. Like, you're like, I'm boostering for damage. Are you gonna finish someone with this? Like, here you are.
Boostering for knockback.
Okay. Yeah, that's enough. I mean, it's unfortunate. He's just far enough forward that doesn't work. I see what you're going for. Okay.
Is approaching its destination.
Okay, we grab the orb. You're gonna end up self-destructing? No.
Yeah, I
Time
think
to
I do.
raise my APM.
We commit like both Reaper and Bomb, which was poor
Okay.
comms, but yeah.
Okay. Not quite
I
sure what
will.
you're DMing here.
Get through this. Need healing.
Okay. Survive a little bit, survive a little bit. Yeah. I get it, and I totally get why you got here. This is just, you guys effectively not talking about your ults, but this has been a long fight. Any plan is long since out the window. And you've sort of already made the decision at this point that you're going to bomb, even though your Blossom has started, and you made the decision basically as soon as that beat went down of, hey, as soon as this beat is over, I'm going to bomb. And that's fine. You really only needed one, but I'm not too worried that sort of miscommunication is going to happen.
Yeah, that wasn't meant to happen. It was
Yep.
just literally like the fight took too long, so I said screw it, I was gonna bomb, and I didn't know what we were doing.
Well, they were going to be appropriately exhausted. I mean, they beat it because they were exhausted. And you were like, you guys aren't going to have places to go. You're not going to have good resources like amp speed, like Winston bubbles, like wraiths to protect yourself with. This will get value.
And I was also pretty tired of having full health on mech.
Sorry, let me turn you up just a little bit more. I've got the game sounds maybe a little too loud. I also have a lawnmower going in the background, so let's get a little bit more.
I just basically said, yeah, I wanted to ult that fight. That's all I said.
Okay.
이건 사기야.
Okay, surely we're going to take reasonable positioning here. Surely. Okay. Where could you stand that makes this more complicated for them?
Guess the high ground in front of me or to the right?
You could. What does the high ground in front of you get you? And are you immediately going to get forced out?
Probably want to get forced out, but by the time they jump on like my team, I'd have to like booster in and peel and all that fun stuff.
You make the whole thing more complicated, though, right? Like, if you stand here, they can't really early poke at you. They have to sort of actively get you out, and getting you out puts them in places where your team can pressure them, right?
Hmm.
I like that. And if they try to skip steps and go right after your team, you either get free access to their back line or you mess up their Winston jump in with your boosters. Like, this is a pretty good place, and I would like you to be in it. Yes. Does it mean you're missing out on a little bit of poke here? Maybe, but like, is your poke doing anything?
My poke never does anything.
Okay.
Time to raise my
Okay. And again, if you'd been up here, this would just be like, oh, I'm already doing good damage. Cool. Okay. Are you guys doing ult tracking?
Honestly, yes, but our ult tracking in 6-man's not that
Okay.
that great because
That's fine.
everybody gets their ults like every single fight.
Funny how that
Insane.
happens. Funny how that happens. Okay.
It's insane, man. I struggle.
Because that is something we want to think about, where we do want to think about, hey, we don't want it to be super easy to get you in EMPs. We want them to sort of have to pick between, between you and your team. But that's okay.
Yeah, this is like,
Get through this.
I want to say maybe our third scrim of where we went against a really good 6-man team.
Okay. You're here, you're trying to mark the Reaper, you go down to the EMP, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I was told by our, I guess, shot caller guy. He basically told me that I guess my job against this would really be poking out the Sombra as much as I can.
Score
Not just scouting her, but like
to 3.
if she's playing from an angle, like to DM or shoot her and to like dive her in certain situations. Like I don't know if
Um,
that's
yeah, I
the right
disagree with
play.
that a bit.
Okay.
So the matchup you guys are playing matters a little bit, but how I'd look at this would mostly be a, hey, I look at this, I look at our comp and their comp, and most of the time when you're playing as Diva into six man, that might be true if you were playing against Sombra Tracer, but like this Reaper is just like, hey, we have a Reaper, you have a Reaper. If your Reaper doesn't get value for 2 seconds and mine does, that's a huge amount of fight difference. Like that is a huge amount of fight difference. So I don't really want to do that. Like if we were playing six man v six man, you know whose job it would be to deal with the Sombra?
Guess mine.
Nope.
Um, Lucio.
Could be. Could be. I mean, he's gonna be your beat answer to the EMPs. He's gonna be the I'm gonna try to answer the EMPs with beat type thing. It actually
Uh,
comes down to Moira and throwing damage orbs at her to make her leave. You guys don't have a Moira. You have a Bat because
really?
you guys are playing Brawl. Yes, you guys are
I
playing.
feel like Moira's job would just be to like hold M1 and get that ult up.
I mean, it takes like an instant to throw a damage orb at a Sombra to make her leave. Is the thing. Like an instant to try to force her translocator is the thing. Um,
That's fair.
and yes, you are then fire hose healing your team because you have massive amounts of cleave going on. But there's also massive amounts of cleave and Reaper damage for you to eat as Diva here. So like you going, oh, I'm gonna go deal with this. Like, what's the more immediate threat? If you don't solve the Sombra, she's going to apply moderate damage, and she's eventually going to get EMP and win the fight. If you don't solve the Reaper, he's going to win the fight in about 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get past step 1 before we worry about step 2. And it's not actually step 2, it's more like step 7 when EMP comes out. But like step 7 doesn't matter if we lose at step 1, right?
Well, I mean,
I'm listening.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of because the way the Sombra was like getting her EMP offs was like almost every single fight.
hmm
So I don't know if to say it's step 7 is a
Okay, we
fair.
can call it step 3 or 4. Let's call it step 3. That's fine. Step 3 in the fight is the EMP. Like, if we look at your matchup here, I don't necessarily want to fully plot this out, but the way these fights are mostly going to work is your team is going to somewhat try to poke out their team. Their team is going to try to get close without getting poked. Their team is going to mostly either use their movement abilities to get on top of you or walk on top of you and then have their movement abilities to get out. So, step 1, we'll roughly call the engage. Okay, that's going to happen. Before anyone goes down on either team, we're going to see Lamp come out, we're going to see Wraith come out, we're going to see Fade come out, we're going to see Amp come out, we're going to see DM come out, we're probably going to see boosters come out. All
Mhm.
these things are probably going to happen before anyone goes down, unless we just shortcut it with EMP, which is a cheat and takes things off the table. But you don't get to start with EMP, you have to earn EMP, right?
Yeah.
So, like, again, maybe EMP's happening every fight, which means you're sort of successfully getting past the first few steps, but should you really be getting past the first few steps, or could you play even more aggressive if you could just walk into their team and not be worried about the Reaper for 2 seconds?
No. Would repeat the question?
No
What
problem.
was it?
So,
Sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. Maybe I phrased that a little confusingly. So, again, we've got this thing called Reaper. We don't really like this thing called Reaper. And my point is, they might be EMPing every fight, but they're not EMPing first thing every fight. They don't start every fight with EMP, even if they do a really good job of cleaning up and getting ult charge back after a fight to get most of their EMP back or half their EMP back. They're not starting the fight with EMP. Whereas if they're right on top of you, like if they didn't have a Reaper, your team could play even more aggressively with their Reaper and their Reinhardt and just destroy this team, right? Like you guys have a strong brawl comp. If you didn't have to worry about Reaper, you guys could play even more aggressively and end the fight before EMP came online, right?
hmm
So like I want that Reaper answered more than the Sombra. That's not me being like, oh, Sombra's absolutely nothing. She's no threat. She absolutely is a threat. She's a real damage source. She does scouting for this. You should absolutely be spraying likely Sombra locations, trying to reveal her, that sort of thing, before the fight begins. And I've got no issue if after you're out of DM, you use your boosters to go on Sombra. It's not my favorite. I'd probably prefer you on Winston after you're out of DM. But my first priority is while you have DM, I don't want Reaper doing work, because if your team knows that Reaper is not going to be allowed to do work, your team can W very hard and make the other team very unhappy. Like it's a big deal to not have Reaper in a close range fight. Like once you guys actually get tight on each other, Reaper deletes people very, very fast. And if you go once you're actually tight, you don't let him do work, your Reaper, like the diva who handles the opposing Reaper better, is generally going to have more success. And obviously, you guys have a Mei to make their diva's job harder. They have a Sombra to make your job harder. But that's kind of how we want to look at this. Your real source of damage and destruction is your Reaper, followed by your main tanks, right?
So then, if essentially we're saying I'm responsible for the Reaper in the mid fight,
Yeah.
who's responsible for the Sombra? Who's poking, building EMP, and like hacking our Rhine in the mid fight?
Yeah, and the reality to that is going to be it's depending a bit on where she's positioned. Like, obviously, if she's in your backline, your BAP is going to fight her. That's just reality. But what it's going to come down to is everyone has a job to do, and you have a situation where, yeah, sometimes it's going to be your Lucio, sometimes it's going to be your BAP, sometimes it is going to be you, but it's not going to be you while you still have DM and there's a Reaper on the board. So when it comes to this Sombra, okay, there's a Sombra. Is the Sombra off angling at like a 45-degree angle? Is the Sombra behind us? Okay. And this would change. If the opponents were running Sombra Tracer, for example, your job, instead of DMing the Reaper, would be, hey, I'm going to have to DM my BAP pretty hard or my Moira pretty hard to protect them from the Sombra Tracer. And yes, I do want to make this Sombra leave as quickly as possible, this Tracer leave as quickly as possible, so I can get back on the monkey. Also, if they leave and our flex support's alive, we're generally going to win. But in terms of in your particular matchup where you're playing this brawl versus 6-man here, well, we can piece it through. I mean, we can piece it through right now. So we look at this, they're going to come in for their dive, and we're going to look at this and go, okay, they're going to come in for this, and we want our Reaper and our Reinhardt to do a lot of damage to their core, who are going to be stacked together and who are going to be a monkey. So good cleave damage for Reinhardt, good damage into monkey for Reaper. Those are things that we want to happen. What do we want our Mei doing? Well, making their Sombra leave, she's not amazing at it. Plus, she can do some to seal their diva, and sealing their diva lets your Reaper do more, so that's something we want. So we're down to really only 3 options in the beginning of the fight, and we've said you won the Reaper. So the answer has to be, well, our supports are going to have to do the best job that they can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's continue through here.
Yeah.
I know, it gets pretty macro sometimes.
Comp semantics. I think I take this first point pretty decently.
Okay.
Second point, maybe not so well. And then we get to third point, and I cannot remember that part.
Fair enough.
Get it done.
Okay, you guys are playing standard brawl versus standard brawl. Fine with me.
Enemies here. Routing tower to forward barrier.
You're just
Actually,
kind of finicky with
as
this.
we get into this,
Sure.
recent problem I've had a lot with
Mhm.
is McCree throwing over Reinhardt shields.
Mm-hmm.
How
Great.
how do you recommend I deal with that? Because that is a recent problem that I am now trying to find an answer
Sure.
for.
Notice when McCree is with the team as opposed to off angling, he's generally going to be less dangerous to you when he's with the team. If he is with the team, he's going for a shield over the either their team has no idea how to play brawl, or he's going for a flashier Reinhardt play. And if he's going for a flashier Reinhardt play, you know he's going for the flashier Reinhardt play, and you should literally be watching for that because that is like the way he's trying to get value in this team fight. And if he doesn't get team value with that, you guys should win over your Kree off angling and just tearing their team apart from a second angle.
Should that be like reaction, or am I supposed to predict it?
You're probably going to predict it. His hand movement is harder than, say, Anna's hand movement to watch, so you probably are going to have to predict it. But he's pretty obvious. It's not like if he gets too much in the front line, he's going for it. He has to go for it, and he has to go for it pretty early in his fight when he's playing with his team, like basically pretty quickly after your front lines meet. And lastly, even if you miss it, you should only miss it by an instant, and then you should be holding your DM over your stunned Reinhardt so other things don't hurt him. Like, that's sort of how you'd think about that. Like, as long as you're trying to get it and you're close on it, you'll get it sometimes. Yes, you are going to be predictive about it. Even if you miss, even if you act a little bit slowly, you should still be able to accomplish not as good as having eaten it, but the next best thing, which is, hey, I'm protecting my Reinhardt while he's vulnerable from it. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
But basically, take extra. You prime yourself, you prepare yourself mentally for they're looking for a flash play, which will make your reactions faster when you notice he's with team rather than off angle.
Routing power to forward
So here he
barrier.
is. Okay, we're about a 60% DM. I probably don't want to DM here, especially as my Reinhardt is bouncing back. I'm really not sure why you're DMing.
Shoot you down.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, he's looking for
Routing
it.
power to forward shield.
I
That
was
was...
so confused by our May.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I thought he DC'd at first when I noticed that. I literally stopped in the fight and said, Hubs, you good?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't re-engage here. Like, they have Maywall advantage. I don't want to engage into this. Yeah, you guys were just asking for this to go wrong. You have to
Defense matrix
booster, sure.
activated.
Okay,
We'll get through this.
okay. Good, you push this.
Time to raise my.
I mean, I guess. I don't have any particular need to fight her, but sure, you can do that. We're putting pressure on the Reinhardt. You correctly decide to go after the DVA here rather than stay on the Reinhardt, who's actually quite healthy. Now you have your angle.
Routing power to forward shield.
Good.
I still love you.
Okay. Sure, good stuff.
I was praying in that moment that he could crush, of course.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I thought it would be funny. Plus, I'd probably get at least 70% on my charge, and that would be even better.
Okay.
Feels bad.
I know. Okay, so
This
here we
fight
go.
goes horribly. I want to know. You'll see in a second what I mean. What should I have done?
Sure.
It will involve a Maywall.
Let them.
Mirrored windows. Oh, well, not back up. That's true for starters. You have
That
to
was
boost her
just
immediately. Oh no. Oh
Boost-
no.
Bunny hop.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what went wrong here is effectively they messed up their Maywall. That's a gift to you. You give the gift right back. That's fine. It's now just as if you hadn't. But you do have to boost yourself right back up on top of this Maywall and be ready to either protect your Reinhardt or protect the lamp, which does mostly the same thing. Like that has to happen here. It's super annoying because now you're standing in this place where they'll be able to shoot you as you're protecting other things, and we don't really like that. So you might get cute about it and try to protect the lamp plus yourself rather than lamp plus Reinhardt. But you do have to go back up here. Like when your Reinhardt
Okay.
gets separated by a wall like this, you have to protect him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Obviously, I fall backwards, which just accidental.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
But I wasn't sure if I was supposed to fly back up or if I was supposed to break
No, you fly back
wall?
up. Basically, the way
Okay.
Brawl v Brawl is going to work is you want to recognize when your team hits the first wall because that's your first cooldown advantage. The first wall is
hmm
generally the better wall, and you guys want to all like go W, W, and push and try to crush them, and they're going to counter wall immediately, and that's fine. Your slight advantage is still there. And then you want to recognize, okay, we'll go with this. On the other hand, if they get that first wall, you need to react, and part of your reaction to a wall, your first reaction to a wall, even before your lamp, so your BAP will get ready to lamp immediately, is you hop over the wall if you got split, or hop on top of the wall rather, and DM down over your Reinhardt. Like that's the first reaction,
Got it.
the first line of defense for oh shoot, they got the better wall off.
Yeah, that's what I did in the first fight when they threw that wall and then I flew over.
Yep.
I wasn't sure about this one because
Yeah,
of window,
the window's
and
scary.
Also, I figured like I don't know if maybe break the wall would have been better because then we could have retreated backwards. with
Your
Reinhardt.
team might consider breaking the wall, but the reality is you guys should be so polished in how you handle walls in terms of you go over them, your BAP goes over them, your Lucio goes over them, that it's like, who are we breaking? Our McCree is already starting to off angle. Who are we breaking this wall for? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I was breaking the wall for like our Ryan to get back and hopefully get behind hard cover.
But we don't actually get split by walls. Like, if you look at our team comp, our McCree should already be trying to off angle, our Lucio can wall ride, our BAP can jump, and you have boosters. So who's blocked by your wall? Like, you
Meaning
just
by
now
their
all go in
wall?
front of your wall. Right, by their wall, yeah. If they wall your Reinhardt, it slows you guys down, it gives you an advantage, but by the time you guys could break it, all working together, couldn't all or most of you have gotten around it or over it because of the characters that you're playing?
Well, I'm saying because of the window is what
Oh,
like
yeah, it's possible in that niche situation. You could argue that it's more important to break the wall than usual to get your Reinhardt, and then your Reinhardt can use their wall to retreat, but that's not really going to do anything because if they're any good, they're just going to cancel their wall as soon as your Reinhardt tries to back behind it, right?
okay.
So that's a situation where you've potentially taken the risk of letting him get blown up early to try to get him more safety later, but if they're good, that you shouldn't actually have more safety later.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about
Yep.
when it came to the wall. Was
Got it.
because window was there. Would it be more value for me to break the wall or to fly over the wall?
Yeah, I understand now.
Okay, don't stop. Let's get it moving.
This fight goes horribly. We
'Kay.
horribly did not. Oh wait. Oh, never mind. Next fight, I'll let you know. This fight also.
So here we are. I guess. Yeah, okay.
Our shot caller really likes to flip the point.
Yeah, that doesn't particularly matter to me. I'm just not sure I wanted you walking in main with team here as opposed to just going, I know where my team is going. They're not going to get run over. If they do get run over, I'll have access to their backline. I might have had you just wait here, check your time, and then
okay.
go, okay, I'm going to go in on the side type thing. But that's okay. We walk in here. I think you get a little over antsy about this high noon. So we look at this. You use a tick of DM. I don't really want to be DMing yet. Like, do you think he has goals on anyone?
No, this is another bad habit of mine.
Yeah.
I know to wait 1 second, but
Yeah.
like it's not like a golden rule, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
always
it's
something
it's
I've
more
tried.
picky than this, but he was behind the wall for a moment. Now he's over here. Your Ryan's got a
Yeah.
fully healthy shield. You guys were always going to be behind a Ryan shield. He can hold this noon for almost 6 seconds. Like, it's this sort of thing where you were going to, in this situation, really not be interested for, like, the first 2 seconds of high noon even. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's still bad habit.
Yep. No
And
big.
then we failed to do scout.
Oh, yeah, you're stuck in a blizzard.
Failed.
It's,
Like to hold track.
Yep.
What it was.
okay.
Now this fight, you can see the Reinhardt already.
I can.
Yeah, mean, you could probably put together what's about to happen.
Yeah, our Diva and our Lucio are gonna go scout high ground, and their flight is gonna fall apart. Like, you're gonna be like, I like approaching the fight separately from high ground, and you're gonna be like, oh, hey, Reinhardt, and he's gonna be like, oh, those meddling divas. Yeah, that's totally what's gonna happen. Okay.
Why don't I do that? The amount of times there's something like this has happened, and I should have learned by now
Yeah.
to fly over and scout.
Yeah, so Diva scouting is important, and you don't see a Reinhardt, and you not seeing a Reinhardt isn't the weirdest thing in the world, because he could be standing right here, but,
Yeah.
Wait, I still don't see a Reinhardt. And now we know what's happened, but okay.
Like, beautiful thing. They're beautiful thing.
Yeah, okay. So we have not had the most successful self-destruct, but I gotta be honest.
All system.
Are you self-destructing here knowing what's gone wrong, or was this always a planned self-destruct for you?
That was yeah, we were gonna initiate with bomb.
Oh, okay.
And then it just happened to be at the exact timing that I get shattered.
Okay. So you guys were thinking we're going to throw a bomb behind them, we're going to speed amp onto them, and they're going to have nowhere to go, so they're going to sort of get stuck protecting against the bomb as we run them over, right?
Yeah, hopefully split some people as bomb gets thrown out and yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
brawl
can live
stuff.
with that. Sure.
Yeah, it just happened to be at the exact time.
Yep.
Hey.
Emperor, why don't I scout?
I don't know. I mean, you scout too much with DM, but you don't scout enough with high ground and off angles.
No, I poke with the end.
Yeah, that's
with
true.
my
That's
like
true.
1 damage.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure totally what you're DMing there either, but okay.
Engaged.
Like, also, I go here.
Extra life.
You don't have boosters yet. It's fine. I'm not sure why you bothered DMing her, but that's okay. I still know she's there, and I kind of want her to leave. I have boosters back.
Engaged.
Okay. Diva clawing through walls.
Yeah, you must do that.
Yeah, that happens in replays.
Routing power to forward shield.
This one's really good to everything else.
Okay.
I thought that all was their flash at first.
What's that?
I thought that was their flash.
Ah, got it.
That's what that DM there was, because I thought it was their flash and I tried to catch it, but apparently it was ours.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Get through this.
Stopped.
Interesting. Interesting.
How would that be interesting?
This just looks like an I'm antsy boosters. Like, it feels early, this boosters. Like, I get that you want to go over there to Super Juice. It's kind of a reach to reach Super Juice from here with how early you boostered. Then you go over there, you come back over here. Yeah, okay.
Another bad ult tracking moment.
Yeah, so that's something we want to be aware of, because we can definitely be denying these. We should know that their most likely win condition right now is Blizzard, and we should be in a situation where our job, yes, eating the Blizzard is great, but even if we don't end up eating the Blizzard, our raw presence in a place where we can threaten to eat the Blizzard, we have boosters, we have DM, that sort of thing, delays when she can get the Blizzard off, and if we delay when she can get the Blizzard off, it's possible we'll be able to work out a solution for the fight first, right? Be that our own High Noon, be that our own Maywall forcing a limb on their Reinhardt, anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so sure. Good. What was that?
I didn't actually eat it though, so
Oh.
not so good.
APM
Yeah, because I
Yeah, you're right.
registered in my brain
right.
where he was
Yeah, you're right.
at the same time. So I could
He pulled it just before, but he pulled it early and didn't get value. It's fine.
also true.
And that's very similar to the blizzard we were talking about, where sometimes it's enough to delay the blizzard, delay the grav, to put pressure on them getting it out so that, them being delayed allows your team to win the fight, get in the limb faster, and then they're like, well, do I want to blizzard into this 5v6? Do I want to grab into this 5v6? That sort of thing. And that's much the same thing. You being there puts the pressure on him to go, okay, well, I'm potentially going to DM this if you give me any more time, and okay, fine, I'll pull now even though it's low value.
Yeah.
High ground? High ground?
Not high ground. Oh well. I'll drop in a second.
But why though?
Cart.
Yeah.
You'll see what the play is. You'll see what the play. This is
Okay.
this is big brain play. Watch.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
You're pushing cart, sure.
Time to raise my
Ready?
APN.
Big
There's
bomb.
this. Time to raise
you're
my
here.
APN.
And you're going for a self-destruct against a team that basically doesn't have to pay attention to your team, but your Reinhardt is able to get a pin during it. I mean, the cover up there is not great. I'll grant you that. My concern is that it is pretty easy for them to drop, so we're kind of using that to get them off high ground, which is a pretty expensive trade. But ultimately, your Reinhardt does engage during it, sure.
Well, the play was engage with it.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I just think your team was a little far away for the engage with it, but that's okay.
I'll show
Okay.
them.
I mean, we can look again, but like, as you see
Well,
here...
I bombed when they said to go for it. So
Got it.
if
Yeah,
they
'cause-
were too far back, then I guess that's their call.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can see where they are as sort of like, okay, your team is going to rotate in during your bomb. And I don't want your team to rotate in during the bomb. I want the other team to have to actively turn or be running from the bomb while your team is on top of or just about on top of them most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I blame. I won't take fault for that. I think that was a great play.
Okay. What I would like to see happen here is, hey, I know that they just went low ground, and I'm not stopping cart anymore. I'm not moving cart or anything anymore, so I'm immediately going to booster myself up over here, right? That's what's going to happen, and I'm going to be super
True.
annoying to these
Yeah,
guys.
we're gonna see it right now.
Yeah.
You ready?
Routing power.
It's gonna happen. I promise.
Oh! Kind of a random tick of DM right here.
Raise my APN.
Half my DMs are random ticks.
Yeah,
of
this
DMs.
is just a random tick of DM. Like, aha! Okay, for what, an icicle? Nah.
Absolutely. I saved my boy Noodles right there. That's what that was.
Your full health Lucio, who can't be one shot by a man, you
Absolutely.
saved him. You saved him.
Absolutely. We capped point and everything. Team fight one.
You did. You were just fighting through that window. No fear.
Well, point's already over, and I'd rather die.
I know. You were very much in the, hey, you know what? Either I'm getting my mech back or you guys are taking me out, and
Yeah.
neither happened. So we're going down with May.
The great diva mechanic.
Yeah.
짜증나.
Oh, look at their diva. Their diva doesn't dislike being high ground as the other team approaches. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, I'll stop. I won't actually stop, but I'll stop for a moment.
Well, my team wasn't poking out the diva, so. I bet if that diva felt pressured by all of our teammates, then that diva wouldn't be up there. GG's.
Right. I agree. If your team spent time and resources and energy dealing with their diva, then their diva would have to retreat to their core, and that would be a worse position for their diva. But you know what? It doesn't really cost the diva anything to do that, and it makes your team spend extra time dealing with her. They sort of have to deal with step 1 before they can deal with step 2, whereas if their diva was just standing with the team, they could just go right into step 2, right?
Well, she's DMing, so she is doing stuff that's gonna cost her. So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
technically, if you want to go down this temporal,
Cool. Cool. I like it. I like it. You don't have boosters.
yeah, we got split by that bomb and
Yep.
like
Yep.
Time to raise my APN.
this was great.
Why are you applying
Uh,
crit damage to Reinhardt shield? Like,
Time to raise
Lucio
my
here?
APN.
Like, this is Lucio damage, if anything.
Oh, I
but okay.
didn't even notice that, Lucio.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is he doing up there?
Lucio stuff.
Bog's boy.
Okay, that's another blizzard. You're staring at her, but we're just a little too slow. It's close. It's close.
I think I drop it as soon as it comes out.
I don't. I think what actually happened is she got it off just before, but let's slow it down and look.
No, because DM's already up. I think literally as soon as
Oh,
I-
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Drop it just a little too early.
Man.
APN running power to forward shield.
I could have actually needed that one.
You could have eaten that one. It's true. I don't care. So we look at this. You're like this. You DM while fire strike's going off. Sure, I'll deal. Then you're like, no, I want to DM again for this diva who's doing 6 damage to me. And I say, no, you don't.
I agree, I don't.
You just DM as you charge in there when you're not actually, there's no damage coming out. Like, oh, I'm gonna DM. Yeah, there's stuff in here, but you're not here yet. You're not rounding this corner yet. Sure, like you hop around this corner to be like, yeah, I better DM them at high noon, and it's like you have 1 tick of DM. We've just been.
Oh no, I
sloppy
hopped
with
around
it.
the corner to be like, oh, there's the high noon. Okay, let's go back under.
Got it. Okay. Having more DM there might have been helpful, but okay.
I thought I was quick enough for it. So.
Why are we? Okay, so we boost through to break the aggression, and then we're gonna land right up here, right? Where we can be like, "Hi guys," and it's super annoying for them, right? That's what's
That's
gonna
a
happen.
great point. That's a beautiful point.
Hmm.
But I thought we already learned that I'm the best diva there is, so it
Ah.
doesn't matter.
Got it. I see now.
Yeah, really.
Don't do it. Good.
Wait, what'd you think I was gonna do?
There was. You had that look to you. Self-destruct. And it was
Oh
just
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't waste my self-destruct. What kind of man do you think I am? I'll waste my mech beforehand. Yeah. I think we initiated that. It's literally the only thing we have.
Okay.
Defense matrix
No, I guess not.
activated.
I'm
Huh.
gonna bring the down.
Okay, so this is happening.
Come on.
That wall happens, and I would be pretty darn interested in getting myself up here, knocking McCree off, turning back and DMing for my Reinhardt. I'd be pretty interested in that.
Defense matrix
Okay.
activated.
I got lamp.
You did. Kind of flew into a messy fight there
Yeah.
without really putting yourself in an amazing position while just being in the middle of the messy fight.
Time to raise my APN. There's no way I'm moving. I will shoot you down.
Sure.
Fully operational.
Go take high ground, or at least go take left. Go take left at least. No.
Time to raise my APN.
Left. We're gonna have this situation where you push them from over here, right? That's the thing? No.
Would be nice.
Cool. Good.
That was so close to getting out of the lamp. That's what I went for with those boosters.
Oh yeah.
Was
No, I
boot them
saw.
out of the lamp.
I saw. It's not the end of the world. Okay. So I see some things that that I would be not necessarily like worried about, but things that I would want to work on in here. We talked a lot about macro. We talked a lot about Sigma and the macro and how poke works. We talked a bit about how you need to answer Reaper, and that really does need to be your priority in some of the verse 6-man stuff. But really, when we get into your like individual diva play, there's a few things that are going to call out to me. One of which is going to be you still are just sloppy with this DM. I'm not going to make that your central focus, but like you just use DM for poke, and I want you to continue to squash down on that a little. I'm not going to make that your central focus because, well, you need to squash down on that a little, and that could be a pretty good central focus. DM is something you're going to upgrade your usage of forever. But like here, we want to squash down on the sort of re-scouting DM. Like a tick to scout, no problem, but you're really just using it to like poke, and your poke sucks as Diva. Micro missiles is sort of okay, but your medium range damage as Diva sucks. And really, when we use DM, we're doing it to scout. We're not doing it to poke. You're doing it to poke. That doesn't really make sense. So like that's one thing that we're gonna put there that's on our list. Second thing I would talk about would be this high ground. I know we've talked about high ground before. I know it I know it makes sense to you in fights, but you sometimes don't think about it because in fights I gave you a couple examples and you went, "Yep, that would be a great thing to do." And don't. And go ahead.
I think sometimes it's like map knowledge.
Okay.
With like I know the map, but I don't.
But
know
you don't know the map from a diva perspective, as weird as that is. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're honest.
right. Like, and that just happens where you just start thinking about things as you start learning more heroes. Like, oh, this is a BAP spot. What? You can stand on this? Sometimes I tell people that, and they're like, you can stand on this? That sort of thing, where it's just like you learn these things. I get it. So yeah, I'd like a little bit more finishing. Like I would say the easiest way to implement this will be I would like pre-fight booster stuff. Like, hey, use free time to booster up to high ground because that's generally good. But I think the easier thing for you to digest will be mid-fight high grounds. You use boosters mid-fight a fair bit. I would like you to finish most of your boosters on high ground. I would like to worry a little bit less about here's my tech for melee damage plus booster. Yes, I'm going to get an elimination. Does that have its place? Absolutely, it has its place. But most of the time, you're going to be better served by going, I'm going to booster into you to boop you away. I'm going to booster into you and eliminate you. I'm going to booster into you. I'm going to booster to you, knock someone back, whatever. And then as an added thing, as a secondary thing on most of my boosters, if I have booster time left, I would like to finish on high ground. Like, that's a thing that I would just like to do. Like, oh, I have remaining booster time. I should finish this on high ground. That's something we want to make automatic, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's high ground like throughout this map. There's high ground here, there's high ground here, there's high ground here, there's high ground here, here. There's high ground if you're attacking, back here. If you're fighting on point, back here. Like, there's plenty of high ground for you to use on this map. There's high ground if you're attacking into these guys over here. Like, there's plenty of high ground for you to use here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we could talk about blizzards. The blizzards really aren't being challenged hard enough, pressured hard enough, and we can say, hey, the ult tracker should be doing a better job of letting the team know. Exactly. We could say that, but like, even if there is a different ult tracker and it's not you, you're gonna track. Like, the reality is as Diva, you're gonna track Dragon Strikes, Blizzards, High Noon, or Dragon Strikes, Blizzards, Grabs. Those are things you're gonna track because you just have to be ready to eat them. And you play different when they're ready, and I'm not seeing that, which is mostly telling me you're not tracking them effectively enough. Okay.
Yeah, that happened basically in this scrim.
No problem.
I'm normally good at it, but this
yeah,
scrim,
you've normally been pretty good about ults. You've just struggled with Ana abilities.
I I struggle with all abilities,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Correct
All
yourself there,
abilities.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All abilities. I'm good with ults. Abilities, I'm absolutely horrible with.
All right.
But
Right.
now I'm getting better at abilities, so I'm not doing good with ults anymore.
Of course, of course. But new standards. If it's like I was 80 good at ults but 0 good at abilities, and now I'm 20 good at abilities and 70 good at ults, hey, it's an improvement. Okay. Okay. So those are where I would put you in terms of things to work on. Do those make sense to you? Do you have questions about any of them or anything else? It's totally fine to have questions. It's totally fine to say, sorta, but I just don't feel it. Like, where are you?
I'm just trying to, because it does make sense to me.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm trying to think, because I know eventually soon enough I'm gonna think of like things. Just
Got it.
trying to see if I can think of it right now.
Got it. You're trying to pull future questions. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, it makes most of the times I'm doing the high ground thing, but I think it's, for me, I think with that it's just the boot, like the map, the diva map knowledge.
Okay.
I feel like is where that high ground part is coming from.
Sure. So you might just
So
need
I
to
just,
sort of actively go through each of the maps. Like you could spend, hey, instead
yeah,
of playing one comp game, you could go through all the maps in the time of one comp game, but you could spend 5 minutes before you start playing for the day going, I'm gonna go through 3 maps and figure out spots where fights happen that finishing on high ground might make sense. And then, the next day you do 3 more maps, that sort of thing. Like that isn't hard and it's a one-time exercise.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of doing actually
Cool.
when
Cool.
we were talking about it earlier.
Nice.
I was pulling up like all the maps and just looking at each corner, because
Hmm.
since all the fights take place at a corner, and figure out
It's
what
true
high
until
ground.
about 4 or 5, but okay.
Huh? Until about 4 or 5.
Fights happen everywhere. Fights happen absolutely everywhere, and you'll
Oh
recognize
yeah,
that.
but
But
almost
that's
almost all the neutral, like when we're in neutral, is gonna be on a corner.
until about 4 or 5. But yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right.
It's
I
fine.
get it. You have more knowledge.
It's
It's almost
okay.
as if I'm paying for this.
It's okay.
Alrighty.
No, you're right though. Think of the standard places. Think of where fights take place, because that is where 95% of fights will happen. You're right.
Mhm.
Okay.
And as for, because that's what we talked about at the beginning of this VOD review, was that poke DM waste.
Yep, absolutely. You were aware of that. I'm glad you're aware of that, but
Yeah.
we do need that to be cleaned up more, and it needs to be a just like, wait, what am I doing? Like I have, goldfish memory here of where were they? Wait, I knew literally a second ago. I don't need to go out there and poke at them.
Yeah, I guess that's just discipline, right?
Yep.
Like there's nothing I can really do about it.
Yep.
Like,
Well, you can do
yeah.
something about it, but you have to be
Like
disciplined too. So,
practice.
yes.
Practice wise, I can't really
Recognize when you're
knock
doing
it
it and
off.
clamp down
Just
on it as
recognize
best you
it.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was the last thing? Just ult
You were
tracking.
sloppy on your ult
Yeah.
tracking blizzards this match rather.
Yeah, that happens.
It does. It does. Okay.
All right. I
Cool.
guess so.
Cool. Then we'll go ahead and call this one here.